have my clients often asking me what they can do to extend their dog's life and how to work on longevity and how to prevent losing them prematurely. And I'm sure that you've seen people being really brokenhearted about their dogs. What I'd like to share with you is a few things about how to keep your dog healthy. The first thing that I would like to share with you is about vaccines. I used to be really confused about vaccines until I realized that most of the time we don't really need to use them and maintain the immunity of our dogs just using minimal or no vaccines. I've learned that if dogs are vaccinated too early at the age of 6 to 8 weeks, the immune system is still immature, and what actually happens, the vaccines neutralize the maternal antibodies, which is a total opposite of what we are trying to achieve. What I recommend is at 12 weeks of your dog's or your puppy's age, you take a blood sample and send it to the lab for titer testing. And titer testing is basically a measurement of antibodies in your dog's bloodstream. And if your dog is positive for antibodies against distemper and parvo, then I recommend repeating the test at 5 months again. And if your dog is positive again, then you can repeat it at 1 year and 2 years, and after that it's very unlikely that your dog would get actually any parvo or distemper, because it's just not common in older or adult dogs. If it comes to rabies, I usually do not recommend giving rabies before 6 months of age. It's really important to reduce the number of vaccines, and I usually do recommend just taking the titers first and then see if the antibodies are sufficient or not. If they're sufficient, there is no need to vaccinate. Vaccines like kennel cough or Lyme's disease are those that I really do not like because they appear to cause more side effects than some of the other vaccines. I'll give you an example. About 50% of dogs that get kennel cough vaccine actually get kennel cough itself. So, the vaccine actually doesn't protect dogs. It quite often infects them. Lyme's disease vaccine is one of those vaccines that has not been approved in humans because it was considered unsafe and inefficient. And what I have seen in dogs that get Lyme's disease vaccine, they quite often become arthritic and have inflammation of joints very early on in their life. When it comes to controlling ticks and Lyme's disease, it's good to comb your dog every day if you live in a tick-infested area, and remove all the ticks within 24 hours after attachment. So every day brushing and combing, really thorough combing, would be a way to go when it comes to prevention of Lyme disease. Now, the other myth that is kind of very interesting, and I don't know where it came from, is that dogs shouldn't be socialized until the age of 4 months, until all the vaccines are given. And to me, it's like taking children and not allowing them to socialize with any other children and isolating them completely for the first several years of life. Obviously, the social skills will be reduced, and they will not be as well adjusted, and they will have behavior problems, whether it's kids or dogs. So I usually recommend socializing dogs on moderate basis. I wouldn't necessarily take puppies to a dog park where there are a lot of dogs, but making them see other dogs, having them make friends with other dogs is absolutely fine if they are protected with antibodies. Now, if the antibodies are negative, then you have a decision to make. Do you want to just give one antigen of parvo at the age of 12 weeks and then give another antigen in 4 weeks after that of distemper, and then measure the antibodies again? If the antibodies are sufficient, there is no need to boost. There is one thing about disease and health and chronic problems that I've learned, that if you use drugs to suppress them or treat them, that the body eventually ends up with more problems than before. Drugs are definitely life-saving when it comes to anesthesia or when it comes to some serious advanced and progressed conditions. But other than that, I basically use supplements and nutrition and herbs to do what conventional medicine schools actually taught us to do with drugs. If you think of conventional drugs, they're chemicals that are foreign to the body. So if the body is dealing with the disease and you treat it with drug, the body has to heal from the disease, plus it has to detox the drug. So it's not optimal, and there are other ways of addressing most acute conditions and even many chronic conditions. And I've learned that I can reduce the amount of drugs in my practice by 95+%. You know, I'm not saying that drugs are never needed. Sometimes they are, and I think that they're helpful. But most of the time, we can actually treat conditions without drugs, and that's what I like to teach people: how to prevent using toxic chemicals and medication, and how to create health through nutrition and supplements and good vitamins and herbs and healing as nature intended. The next thing that I usually recommend to people to look at is reducing the amount of anti-parasitic drugs, because heartworm medication, flea medication, and intestinal parasite medication can be helpful in those serious and rare situations, but most of the time they don't actually need to be given on a monthly basis. So what you can do, if you have questions, you can go to my blog at peterdobias.com, or you can email us at contact@peterdobias.com, or you can go on Facebook at Dr. Dobias Natural Healing. The next piece of knowledge that I really would like to share with you is about treats, because I know that treats, dog treats, are part of our lives. It's an expression of love for our dogs, and I think that treats are always going to be there, and we're always going to give them. But it's important to remember that if you feed treats, that there's a relatively high risk that you'll be giving treats with poor quality ingredients in them. I do not recommend giving wheat-based treats, milk-based treats, treats that have synthetic preservatives. Ideally, try to buy local treats. Try to buy treats that are not too cheap to be true. I sometimes like to use pet foods like Zivi Peak, just the little dry fruit pieces as treats, and dogs love them, and it's a very reputable company from New Zealand. Collars are kind of a medieval device if you think about it. We put them on our dogs and then put a leash, and then some people jerk and tug on it, and there's so many sensitive structures in the neck and throat, and dogs get really injured and affected by collars. I see that all the time. I recommend using a front attachment, front clip harness that is much safer, and it frees the dog's neck, and it doesn't cause any injuries and damage. Another issue, electric collars. I can't stand them. I think that electric collars are very harmful. They create obviously energy waves and electric waves within the body. They also traumatize our dogs. It's a use of force, and I think that they should be outlawed. Another major issue is a retractable leash, because retractable leashes generate a certain spring when your dog is on it, and dogs have to pull the spring to actually extend the leash, and injuries happen. Over the past few years, I've been monitoring the levels of heavy metals and also some radioactive isotopes in dogs that do get fish. And what we discovered from the hair samples of dogs and running hair key test, which is a test that we offer, that most dogs that have exclusive fish diet would have higher mercury levels than those that do not get fish or get very little. Now, I've learned that salmon doesn't appear to be as big of a problem as some other fish like tuna and whitefish, and we have also discovered that dogs that eat small fish like sardines have higher levels of strontium, which is a radioactive element. If you want to feed fish, I recommend people to go on OceanWise, and it'll give you an idea which fish is low in mercury and which fish is safe to feed. But because there is so much depletion of the oceans these days, and overfishing is a serious problem, I usually do not recommend feeding fish to dogs. Providing minerals is absolutely essential, and normally it would happen through food, because food would be rich in minerals, and dogs many hundreds and thousands of years back were eating very diet. Unfortunately, we have very different situation today. The food chains are depleted, soils are depleted of minerals, and the whole deficiency projects in the whole food chain, and it includes our dogs. Now, when there is mineral deficiency, there are two things happen. One of them is that the metabolic reactions cannot happen, and each element participates in dozens and hundreds of metabolic biochemical reactions in the body, and if they're missing, the body can somehow survive, but it is not going to thrive. And that's the difference between good health and longevity and chronic disease and shorter life. Second, if there's a lack of minerals, the body needs to reduce the amount of water and hydration to maintain the right osmotic balance. So minerals also directly maintain and ensure our hydration and your dog's hydration. So without minerals, there is basically no life, and without minerals, your dog's heart would not be beating, and nerves would not be working, or organs would not be functioning properly. And people don't realize that this is really simple to correct, that if you supplement minerals, that your dog, whether he's young or middle-aged or older, is going to be so much better off. If you're asking what to give, I've been given a combination of alga calcarea and spirulina, which are in Greenman, the product that I brought to you. Greenman has been an eye-opening experience, because I've seen so many dogs just becoming alive after you give the minerals, that it's just so much fun to see. And I'm very grateful that I've been somehow guided to put those together and bring Greenman, because yeah, it makes a huge difference. The next thing that I would like to talk to you is vitamins, because most people do not understand that most vitamins are made synthetically, and they're made of ingredients like coal and crude oil, which is not definitely what nature intended. You know, natural vitamins are bound in bioprotein, and they're very different. They're complex food, and even though we can manufacture vitamins that are similar, and they may even sometimes address those deficiencies, they're definitely not acting the same way as the natural vitamins. So over the last 5 years, I've worked really hard to create a multivitamin supplement that would be food-based and that would be certified organic. And after many years of really tedious and hard work, we've been able to come with Soul Food, which is the first certified organic natural vitamin for dogs. And I'm really happy to have completed the testing, and we have just introduced it on the market in 2013, and I am thrilled and ecstatic because it doesn't upset the dog's stomach. I can take those vitamins with my dog because they're very much the same what nature intended. Dogs mean so much to so many people, and they're our best friends, they're our soulmates. They create such amazing energy in our lives. They take us out, they're our free exercise plan, they take us for walks, they bring so much joy. I sometimes look at dogs and I go, wow, you know, they're so much more advanced than people, because they know how to live, they enjoy the simple things. I think that ultimately all we need is to kind of look at dogs and remember that life is about being with our friends and play and have fun and enjoy nature around. And that is what dogs are about. They come to teach us about life and how simple and beautiful it can be.